Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Banking App Insight session. We are looking at the UK market for February 2024. And as usual now, I have Yazad Karkaria with me, the Global Head of AI Analytics and CX Strategy. So, Yazad, what are some of the interesting findings that you have for us this month around the UK market?
Thanks, Glenn. So we are tracking about 20 financial institutions and banks in the UK, the mobile banking app performance over there. And right now on my screen, you have about 5 main players in the market over there that we'll be analyzing. We have Lloyds, Santander, Chase, Barclays, and Capital One. So right now, the numbers that we see on the screen are related to the engaged customer score. So I'll take a moment and explain what this means. So we take the data from Google Play and App Store, and we take all those reviews which have a rating along with a comment that explains why users have given a certain rating. This data set is extremely important as it gives us an understanding in terms of why certain app users are happy with some of the banks, whereas others are not so happy. So right now we are looking at this particular data set, and the score can be in the range of 1 to 5 stars, depending on what the users have given. So let's start with Lloyds. So we can see we are looking at the data since Jan 2023. So over the last 12 to 14 months, Lloyds has been really a strong performer and the leader throughout 2023. But interestingly, as we can see over here, in the last couple of months, things have changed a little. So the performance of Lloyds has marginally dropped in the last couple of months, that's Jan and Feb 2024. But at the same time, we have Chase, who started off the year 2023 at a much lower engaged customer score than what Lloyds had at that point. But in the recent months, they've performed really well, and they have actually overtaken Lloyds in the last few months, as we can see. And out of this set that we are looking at, they are currently the market leaders. The next one that we have is Barclays. So Barclays also started off at a slightly lower range compared to Lloyds, but we can see that Barclays also had a drop in March 2023, a very sharp drop, but they did manage to recover from there. And since November 2023, they have been consistently performing quite strongly, as we can see over here. Then we have Capital One over here, which started off the year at a very similar note as Barclays. They had a very similar score, but in the recent months, in the second half of 2023, the performance has gradually declined, though they had a good month in December, but again, we are seeing a drop in their performance. And the last bank that we are reviewing today is Santander over here. So Santander has been quite interesting. Their performance has always been in a lower range compared to others, even throughout 2023, as we can see. Only Barclays was sometimes below their performance, as we can see over here. But the interesting thing here is that in November 2023, Santander performance dropped very, very sharply. And it continued to be in that lower range in December. But in January and February 24, we are seeing a partial recovery over here. So in today's session, this is what we'll be focusing on. We will be focusing on understanding what has improved amongst Santander mobile app users.
Great. And how does that recovery translate in terms of the changes in user experience?
Right, Glenn. In order to understand this, we will be using our AI-powered text analytics platform called Ipiphany, and we've developed a special framework to understand mobile banking app user experience by analyzing over 1 million user comments every year. So we've developed this framework in consultation with our internal experts and the clients that we work with. So for any mobile banking app to perform well, it needs to do well on these 4 foundational pillars, which is authentication, design and UI, reliability and stability, and features and functionality. So these are the 4 core areas that we track on an ongoing basis for each of the banks that we monitor. And within each one of these, we have a lot of detail that we can dive deeper into. We have a lot of subtopics which individually give us how the app is performing on each of these different areas. So we'll be using this framework to understand Santander's performance. So on my screen right now, Glenn, we have Santander's performance across December, January, and February. So these different months are represented by the different colors that we have over here. So in December, we can see that the average score, which is the engaged customer score for Santander, was 3.4. It further improved to 3.6 in January. And then in February, we saw a further improvement when the score touched 3.8. Now, what we will be doing is we'll be using our foundational pillars to understand what has changed for users over a period of these 3 months. So coming to the first pillar, which is reliability and stability over here, in December, when the score was in the lower range, we can see that about 26.7% of the users face reliability and stability related issues. The good news for Santander users is though that this is gradually declining. So in the month of Feb, it's come down to 21.6. So that's a movement in the positive direction. In terms of authentication, about 7% users had reported authentication-related problems in the month of December, which then increased to about 9.6. And then again, this has come under control to some extent in Feb, when it's dropped to 5.8. In terms of design in UI and features and functionality, we don't see much change over there, which tells us that user experience has more or less been similar across these 3 months on these main parameters. So the interesting one over here, though, is reliability and stability. So we can see that these pain points over here have dropped, which is good news. But the other important thing is that we just don't stop over here by looking at how these topics are moving. What we can actually do, Glenn, is we can dive deeper into each topic and see what's happening. So when I click on reliability and stability over here, what Ipiphany has done is that it's opened up this screen on the right-hand side, which then allows me to understand what are the main areas or different aspects of experience that customers are talking within this topic. So within reliability and stability, we can see customers talking about login issues, app performance-related issues, app update problems, access to banking services, and customer support-related feedback. So this summary is actually given to us by ChatGPT. We've done an integration with ChatGPT where this data gets analyzed within ChatGPT and it throws up a descriptive summary that users can directly use. Earlier, this used to be done manually, but this is one of the new product development features that we have recently implemented. Also, what we can do is we can interact with this data in a number of ways. So I can look at the dynamic word cloud, which tells me what are the key themes coming up within reliability and stability related issues. And then finally, I can dive deeper into the actual user comments. So these are the actual comments that users of Santander have shared. And these have further got categorized into these multiple pillars, as we can see over here. So here we have customers talking about login issues, quick balance not working, the app being slow, etc. So there's a lot of detail that we can dig into after looking at the results at an overall level. And it just doesn't stop at that. So right now we are looking at our 4 foundational pillars to understand this improvement. But what we can also do is we can look at the subtopics over here, which give us a further detailed level of granularity. So here now we can look at technical issues, login errors, update related feedback, which has also moved positively as fewer issues have been coming up, customers talking about the app difficult to use, and so on. So there's a lot of detail over here.
Yeah, that really is. And looking at that, the improvements look good, but how close are they in reality to leaders like Chase?
Sure. That's a very valid point. So yes, we did see that Santander results have marginally improved, but let's take a look over here on this slide. We are looking at the Feb result over here and comparing Santander with Chase. And let's look at the differences in user experiences over here. So Chase had an engaged customer score of 4.5, which is in a much higher range than Santander, which is at 3.8. And when we look at our foundational pillars and compare the pain points, we can straight away see that the incidence of reliability and stability related issues among Santander users is almost twice as much as what we see in case of Chase. And similarly, authentication related issues are about 3 times of what Chase users would normally experience. There are some marginal differences even in design and UI and features and functionality, but here on the 4 foundational pillars, we can very clearly see what the gaps are. And this is one of the main areas which our clients love, where they can actually see how far they are behind competition and what are the main main elements of the app that they need to fix in order to make up this gap and come at a similar score as them. And similarly, Glenn, over here, we can get into a lot of details. So we are looking at the foundational pillars, but the pain points will actually explain to me these differences at an overall level across multiple different topics that we are tracking.
Such a great way of benchmarking, and I love how you can put yourself side by side against a market leader to identify the areas that you can prioritize. So that's fascinating stuff.
Yes, indeed, Glenn. In fact, the app reviews data is very sensitive to changes in user experience, and it's a rich source of insights about what users actually feel about the app. Our clients have used our offering to improve their digital experiences using Epiphany. And the beauty of this solution actually is that it's a turnkey solution where we manage the data, we generate the insights, and do the reporting for our clients, who can then focus on driving these findings internally at a strategic and a tactical level.
Yeah, absolutely great insights yet again, Yazad. I really appreciate the time, the effort, and the insights that not only you put into this, but the entire engineering team behind Epiphany. And if you want to have a look at your bank and the app performance compared to one of your market competitors, feel free to sing out and we can tee something up for you.